When the news broke that Rush had found a new drummer, the internet stopped. Every forum, every drumming subreddit, every studio chat room lit up at once. Because this wasn't just any drummer. It was Anika Nilles, the German virtuoso known for turning rhythm into storytelling. A woman stepping into the sacred seat once owned by the late, legendary Neil Peart, one of the most revered drummers in rock history. Some fans gasped, others cheered, and within hours, a quiet wave of approval rolled across the drumming community. Because while casual listeners were busy comparing eras, drum teachers were smiling. They knew exactly what this meant. To them, this wasn't controversy. It was evolution. The technicality, the feel, the control, the musical maturity. It all lined up perfectly. And as clips of Anika rehearsing with Rush began surfacing, one thing became clear. She wasn't there to replace Neil Peart. She was there to carry his language forward. One note, one heartbeat at a time, before her name echoed across every rock forum. Anika Nilles was already a quiet storm in the drumming world. Born and raised in Germany, she wasn't just another player trying to make noise online. She was building a language of rhythm that people couldn't ignore. Her playing had this mix of precision and groove that felt almost mathematical, but somehow human. Every note breathed. Every pause mattered. Long before the Rush announcement, drummers around the globe knew her name. Her YouTube videos, polished, expressive, and relentlessly musical, became masterclasses in feel and control. It wasn't just what she played, it was how she made you feel the time between the beats. She'd flip odd time signatures into something fluid and effortless, turning complex ideas into something you could nod your head to. Then came Fufu, a track that caught everyone off guard. Deep, organic, and hypnotic. Drum teachers reacted instantly, calling it a rhythmic playground. Fusion, jazz, African influences. It was all there, and yet unmistakably her. Even the production felt personal. Open cymbals, raw snare tone, almost no studio polish. Just pure Anika. By the time the video racked up millions of views, collaborations started pouring in. She wasn't just a YouTube drummer anymore. She was a movement. Clinics sold out across Europe and the US. Her groove exercises became gospel for young drummers. And slowly, one question began surfacing everywhere. When would a major band finally call her? That answer came sooner and louder than anyone expected. When the words, "Anika Nilles joins Rush," first hit social media, it didn't sound real. For a moment, people thought it was satire, a rumor that couldn't possibly be true. Rush without Neil Peart? Unthinkable. Rush with a female drummer? Unprecedented. Yet there it was, confirmed by insiders, then echoed by music magazines around the world. Anika Nilles, the rhythmic architect of modern fusion, was stepping into the heartbeat of one of rock's most technically respected bands. It felt like two worlds colliding. Classic prog rock meeting the new digital era of drumming. On one side, the shadow of Neil Peart, a man who'd turned drumming into both a science and a religion. On the other, Anika Nilles, a modern player who fused jazz fluidity with internet-age innovation. The contrast was jarring and electrifying. For decades, fans had considered the Rush drum throne sacred ground. Peart wasn't just a drummer. He was the band's philosopher, its storyteller, its timekeeper in more ways than one. His passing left an ache that no one dared to touch. That's why Anika's arrival wasn't just a casting choice, it was a cultural moment. The decision said something bold, that legacies aren't meant to be sealed in glass. They're meant to evolve. The reactions came fast. Some longtime fans felt protective, saying, "There will never be another Neil." Others leaned in with curiosity, eager to see how her fluid, soulful style would reshape Rush's mechanical precision. But among musicians, one theme kept repeating: respect. Drum teachers, session pros, and fellow players all agreed. If anyone could bring freshness without losing the soul, it was Anika Nilles. It wasn't about replacing Neil Peart. It was about rewriting what continuing could sound like. Not long after the announcement, a video quietly began making waves. Schlagzeuglehrer reagieren. A pair of German drum teachers sitting down to analyze Anika's newest track, Fufu. At first it looked like a normal reaction video. Two pros with decades behind the kit, ready to break down another viral drummer. But within seconds, you could see it on their faces. Disbelief melting into admiration. The groove kicked in, and one of them laughed, shaking his head. Ja, da ist der Shuffle real. The other nodded. That's her move. The Anika shuffle. They could hear it immediately. The subtle push and pull. The perfectly balanced tension between her right hand's steady pulse and her left hand's ghost notes. It wasn't just timing, it was storytelling through rhythm. They leaned closer, trying to decode her magic. Did you hear the quintuplets? She's switching between triplets and fives, one said, half in awe, half in confusion. The other grinned. That's what she does, the signature Anika thing. And just like that, you could tell these weren't two casual fans reacting to a performance. These were craftsmen studying architecture. What struck them most wasn't just her complexity. It was her control. The way she made impossible transitions sound effortless, shifting from single strokes to doubles mid-phrase without losing a drop of groove. They pointed out her cymbal sound. Dark, organic, natural. The kind that doesn't hide behind studio polish. It sounds like she's right there in the room with you, one said. No filters, no tricks. Just pure playing. Even their humor showed admiration. They joked about her invisible double bass. The way her floor tom and kick blended so perfectly it felt like two pedals at once. And when she closed with that explosive tom run, both teachers just sat back, speechless. One finally muttered, "Respekt. Das ist richtig schwer." By the end, their verdict was unanimous. She wasn't overplaying, she was orchestrating. Musical. Intentional. Every note had a reason. And behind all the smiles and jokes, there was a quiet truth in their tone. These weren't just teachers reacting to a performance. They were witnessing a new benchmark in modern drumming. What makes Anika Nilles different isn't just speed or flash. It's how she turns advanced technique into something musical. Even people who don't play the drums can feel there's something special happening, even if they don't know what it is. Start with the quintuplets. 5 evenly spaced notes, where most drummers would only fit 4. It sounds small, but that one extra subdivision completely changes the groove. It creates this rolling, unpredictable energy that keeps listeners on edge without ever losing flow. It's math in motion, but the beauty is, Anika makes it feel human. Then there's her shuffle groove, that hypnotic triplet feel that seems simple until you try it. In Fufu, she builds it piece by piece. Her right hand gliding across the cymbals, steady as a metronome, while her left hand paints soft ghost notes across the snare. Ghost notes, those barely audible taps, are like whispers between the louder hits. They add dimension, texture, and pulse. Most players either overdo them or lose them entirely in the mix. But Anika balances them like brushstrokes, giving her drumming that signature blend of smooth and gritty. What blew the drum teachers away in their reaction wasn't just that she could play it. It was that she could live in it. She'd switch from single strokes to doubles mid-groove, shifting from full arm power to delicate finger control without a hiccup. It's the kind of transition that usually sounds clunky, like a gear change you can hear. But in her hands, it sounded like silk. A seamless motion that kept the groove intact even as the technique evolved. And then there's her sound. Not the over-polished, computer-clean type that dominates modern drumming videos. Her mix feels organic. You can hear the room, the air, the weight of each cymbal. Her crashes ring with warmth, not glare. Her snare feels alive, not compressed. It's the kind of sound that makes you feel like you're standing right there in front of her kit, watching every motion count. It's that blend of discipline and freedom, textbook precision with the soul of improvisation, that has seasoned drummers nodding in respect. Because Anika Nilles doesn't just master technique, she disappears inside it. When those teachers wrapped up their analysis, one of them said something that stuck. Drumming has evolved a lot in the last 20 years, and that one line captured exactly why this moment matters. Because what Anika Nilles represents isn't a replacement, it's evolution. Neil Peart's style was the definition of structure. Every fill, every accent, every time signature had purpose. He built entire worlds out of precision. His drumming wasn't just performance, it was architecture. But Anika's approach is the opposite kind of genius. She moves like water around that structure. Where Neil built cathedrals out of rhythm, Anika paints landscapes inside them. Her sound isn't about rigidity, it's about flow, improvisation, and emotional reaction in real time. That's what makes this transition between eras so fascinating. Rush was always about pushing musical boundaries, and now it's happening again. But in a new language, Anika brings the modern fusion mindset. Pocket, groove, and dynamics that stretch far beyond the metronome. It's drumming that breathes. It's mathematical precision transformed into something alive. She bridges the worlds effortlessly. You can hear the respect for Peart in her discipline, how carefully she approaches phrasing, space, and timing. But then she'll twist a rhythm mid-bar, add that quintuplet tension, or open up the hi-hat in ways that feel spontaneous and human. It's not imitation, it's conversation, a dialogue between eras. To older fans, she's a reminder of what made Rush great in the first place: fearless experimentation. To younger listeners, she's proof that technique can still have soul. And together, that combination might just make this the most exciting chapter Rush has had in decades. As the news spread, the reaction online became its own symphony. Comment sections filled up within hours, half filled with excitement, half with disbelief. "This can't be real," one longtime Rush fan wrote. "No one can replace Neil." Another countered immediately. "She's not replacing him. She's rewriting what comes next." And that's the energy that's been flowing through the music world ever since. A mix of curiosity, nostalgia, and a cautious kind of hope. On social media, videos of Anika rehearsing started racking up millions of views. Drummers from every corner of the internet, metal, jazz, gospel, pop, were reposting her clips with captions like, "That groove," and "This is how you honor a legend." But maybe the most powerful reactions weren't about technique at all. They were about what this moment means, because in one of rock's most technical, male-dominated bands, a woman now sits behind the kit. Not as a novelty, not as a statement, but as the best musician for the job. Representation matters. And seeing Anika command that stage sends a message far beyond the music world. That skill and soul have no gender. Young girls in drum studios from Tokyo to Toronto are watching this and realizing there's space for them here too. Even the skeptics have started softening. As more live rehearsal clips leak online, people notice her calm presence. No ego, no showboating, just laser focus and quiet joy. That humility is winning hearts fast. She's not trying to be Neil Peart. She's honoring him by doing what he always did, pushing the instrument forward. And with every video, every shared clip, every teacher breaking down her playing frame by frame, one truth keeps surfacing. Anika Nilles didn't just get this gig because she could play. She got it because she could listen. To the music, to the legacy, to the moment, The moment she hits that first note on stage, the world will listen differently. It won't just be about whether she can play the parts. Everyone knows she can. It will be about how it feels, whether that groove, that pulse, that unmistakable heartbeat of Rush can be reborn through her hands. Neil Peart's shadow will always hover above that drum riser. But shadows only exist where there's light, and Anika Nilles brings her own kind. A warmth, a fluidity, a voice that's both reverent and new. She's not here to rewrite Rush's story, but to continue it in a language the next generation understands. Every fill, every shuffle, every whispered ghost note will be a reminder. Legacies don't die. They evolve, and as the house lights fade and the crowd holds its breath for that first downbeat, one thing is certain. This isn't the end of Rush. It's the next movement. So here's the question every fan is asking. Will Anika Nilles redefine the sound of Rush for a new era, or honor it exactly as it was? Either way, the world is about to find out.